The story begins with two handsome pilots, Joe and Shanann, who are introduced at a press conference after their selection for the world racing team. Joe is confident, charming, and everyone's favorite. However, Shanann is actually a young woman named Sheng Yi, who is taking her twin brother's place because he fell into a coma after an accident. To fulfill his dream of racing professionally, she cuts her hair, disguises herself as a boy, and attends the conference in his place. During the presentation, Sheng Yi becomes nervous and almost falls off the stage, but Joe catches her just in time. They stare at each other for a few moments, and then Joe quietly warns her not to ruin the conference, or he will remove her from the team. At the training camp, they are assigned to share the same dorm room, which is risky and uncomfortable for Sheng Yi. She goes to sleep without even changing and silently wishes that her brother will wake from his coma and race again. The next morning, she wakes in shock when she realizes she is in Joe's bed. She quietly moves back to her own bed, but Joe reminds her that the previous night she got drunk, spilled water on her bed, and ended up sleeping beside him. On the first official day of training, the coach makes it clear that the tests will be tough, and only 4 trainees will be selected for the final race. Everyone trains hard under pressure. A few days later, Joe tells Sheng Yi that her driving talent is impressive, but her body is too thin and weak. The coach also tells her to build more muscle. During training, she collapses from exhaustion, and Joe quickly helps her and checks her injuries. 2 teammates watch them from afar and comment on how concerned they seem for each other. Joe starts helping her train, and they continue practicing together. On the day of the physical tests, Sheng Yi gives it her all. In the results, Joe ranks first and Sheng Yi comes fourth. Overjoyed, she hugs Joe in excitement. The manager congratulates them and shows them their new racing cars, but the mood changes when Juan arrives with Chang, Joe's brother. Chang subtly blames Joe for Juan's injury in the previous race and warns him that this time Juan will compete on another team. Joe becomes visibly upset, leaves the group, drives alone, and recalls the accident from 2 years ago. The manager tells Sheng Yi that Joe once suffered a psychological crisis because of guilt. Sheng Yi says he needs support and promises to stay by his side. At the end of the day, she tells Joe that she fully believes in his abilities and that together they have a strong chance. The next morning, Joe wakes up and finds Sheng Yi making breakfast and caring for him. Jokingly, he says that if she were a girl, he would marry her. Hearing this makes Sheng Yi happy because she is slowly starting to like him. During training, the manager notices Joe's performance is very low, scolds him, and tells him to focus. It becomes clear he still hasn't overcome his guilt after seeing Juan. That night, while walking alone, lost in thought, Joe almost gets hit by a car while crossing the track, but Sheng Yi pulls him away just in time and saves him. She tries to calm him and reminds him he can trust her, and they return to their room together. To cheer him up, Sheng Yi takes him to a video game mall. They play, have fun, and Joe's mood finally lightens. That night, while Joe goes to shower, Sheng Yi uses the hotel's women's bathroom. As she comes out, the manager confronts her, scolds her, and warns that if anyone discovers she is a girl, it will cause a huge scandal. From her words, it becomes clear that the manager had always known the truth. Sheng Yi explains that she is being very careful and says she is not only fulfilling her brother's dream, but also wants to prove that girls can compete in racing just like boys. Without them noticing, one of their teammates overhears the conversation. Fang discovers her secret and hides before being seen. Now convinced that everything makes sense, he approaches Sheng Yi later and brings her breakfast. His attention surprises Joe, who begins to feel uncomfortable and slightly jealous without realizing it. Fang keeps getting closer, and Joe, annoyed, pulls Sheng Yi away from him and leaves Fang behind. During training, Sheng Yi starts to develop real feelings for Joe. Her heart races, and she realizes she is falling in love. She even imagines Joe cornering her in the bathroom to kiss her. She tries to suppress these feelings until Joe jokingly asks if she likes him. She denies it, saying she is a boy, but he laughs and says that if she were a girl, she would be crazy about him. Their closeness grows more complicated. Sheng Yi feels happy beside him even though he sees her as a boy, while Joe continues showing jealousy toward Fang. When Fang comes to bring Sheng Yi breakfast, Joe lies and says she has already gone to training, preventing him from entering the room. However, Joe's calm does not last long. One day before the big race, Juan suddenly appears again to disturb him and reopen his guilt. Although Sheng Yi tries to defend Joe, Juan's words shake him and make him feel bad again. Seeing this, Sheng Yi encourages him sincerely. She tells him he is at his best, that she feels honored to compete on the same team, and that she fully believes in his abilities. As a gesture of support, she gives him small toy car figurines that she likes very much, assuring him he is not alone and that they are one team now. Before going to the track, they attach the figurines to their outfits as Lucky Charms. With renewed confidence, they get into their cars, start their engines, and give their all on the track. During the race, they understand each other perfectly. Sheng Yi feels she can reach the top positions, and Joe drives with determination to the finish. Their team wins the race and qualifies for the championship. To celebrate, they sneak out through the back of the hotel to avoid fans and spend a pleasant time together. Suddenly, Sheng Yi gets her period and enters a supermarket to buy pads. When she comes out, Joe is gone. Soon after, it is revealed that Juan Juan has kidnapped him and ordered his men to beat him. Furious, Juan accuses Joe of cheating in the race and raises a baseball bat to attack him. At that moment, Sheng Yi arrives, calls the police, and Juan flees with his men after threatening Joe. Later in the room, Sheng Yi treats Joe's wounds and prepares special noodles for him. He thanks her and asks her to eat with him because he does not like eating alone. They share the same bowl, and suddenly Joe surprises her by saying he wants to marry her. He confesses that he knew from the beginning she was a girl and offers her a ring, waiting for her answer. Then, dressed like bride and groom, Joe feels his wish has come true and that he has finally found the love of his life. But when he lifts her veil, he sees she has a mustache and is completely shocked. At that instant, Joe wakes up startled and realizes it was all a dream. Though confused, he feels the dream must mean something. Curious, he searches online for ways to indirectly find out whether a person is a boy or a girl. Just then, Sheng Yi suddenly enters and startles him. She tries to see what he was looking at, and while playfully struggling over the iPad, they accidentally kiss. Both become extremely nervous, and Sheng Yi quickly pulls away, returns to her bed, and falls asleep. Although Joe tries to convince himself it was just his imagination, his suspicions grow. The next day, he decides to avoid her so he will not feel more confused. Sheng Yi notices he is distancing himself. He even refuses to go out to the restaurant with her and the team, saying he will sleep early. Days pass, and Joe stops attending training. The coach explains he asked for leave and will be absent for a few days, leaving Sheng Yi confused. Alone in the room, it is clear she misses his presence. That night, Sheng Yi finds a gift in her room with an anonymous note asking her to wear the dress and shoes in the box and go to a restaurant at a certain time. Thinking it is from the manager, she goes dressed as a girl. To her surprise, Fang is the one waiting for her. He confesses he discovered her secret when he overheard her talking with the manager in the bathroom and promises to keep it safe. Just then, Joe enters the restaurant. Fang runs to talk to him, and Sheng Yi hides so Joe will not see her. At that moment, a girl sits with Joe, and Sheng Yi assumes she is his girlfriend. Heartbroken, she believes this is why he took leave, because he is in a relationship. Frustrated, she drinks heavily, sends Fang away, and ends up walking alone and sadly down the street. Meanwhile, Joe drives while thinking about the girl from the restaurant. It is revealed that she is only an old friend who is an expert in relationships, not his girlfriend, as Sheng Yi thought. Still hurt by what she saw, Sheng Yi asks the manager for permission to return to her apartment because she feels uncomfortable around Joe. When Joe later returns to the room, it is empty. She has already left. Joe tries to talk to Sheng Yi during training, but now she is the one ignoring him. Still, Joe does not give up and approaches her, asking her to return. She refuses and confronts him, saying he was the one who started avoiding her, and that it is better if they remain only teammates, and he stops worrying about her. From then on, they train separately, do not eat together, and do not greet each other. One night, Joe hesitates before texting her, and when he finally does, he realizes she has blocked him. His teammates try to cheer him up, and Fang suggests inviting her to dinner since they are only friends and should not be fighting. Joe follows Fang's advice and calls her, and surprisingly, she accepts immediately. At the restaurant, they eat and drink together, but Joe drinks too much. Sitting close to her, he begs her to return to the room and promises he will not avoid her again. While they are very close, someone secretly takes photos of them from outside at their most intimate moment. Afterward, Sheng Yi takes the drunken Joe back to the dorm. As she helps him lie down, he half asleep confesses that he loves her and does not understand why he feels so attached to her. Holding her hand, he says he wishes she were a girl so he could marry her. Sheng Yi thinks she also wishes he knew the truth, but she cannot bring herself to tell him. When Joe wakes up, he finds her sleeping on his bed. He gently covers her with a blanket and watches her for a moment. Later, he prepares a special breakfast, apologizes for everything, and asks her to move back into the room. He even promises to make her breakfast every day once they are roommates again. That same day after training, Sheng Yi goes with Joe to the locker room. She enters a changing cubicle while he waits outside. Joe steps away briefly to get something, and during that time, believing he is still outside, Sheng Yi decides to confess the truth, that she is actually a girl, not a boy. She explains she disguised herself to fulfill her brother's dream and prove that girls can also race. At that moment, Joe returns with a towel and only hears the end of her explanation, assuming she is talking about wanting the team to win. Sheng Yi misunderstands his response and believes he already knows her secret and accepts her, creating a big misunderstanding between them. Overflowing with happiness, she is later surprised by the manager with a birthday party. The team dances for her, and Joe gives her a bracelet, promising to wear the same one and never take it off. Sheng Yi feels incredibly happy, but the next day, when she returns to the room, Joe is gone. Fang tells her he has left the team without explanation, leaving her in shock. That night, she cries desperately and tells the manager that he left because of her. Unbeknownst to them, Joe is nearby and hears everything, deeply affected. The truth is that Joe received an anonymous message with photos of him and Sheng Yi looking very close at the restaurant. He was threatened with a scandal if he did not leave the team. To protect Sheng Yi, he chose to sacrifice himself and walk away. The next day, the manager demands an explanation from from Joe. He shows the photos on his phone and admits he was forced to leave to avoid a scandal and protect everyone's reputation, especially the woman he loves. Understanding the situation, the manager accepts his decision, but Joe must still attend a press conference. During the event, he looks visibly nervous when reporters ask directly if he is dating Shen-nan. At that moment, everything changes. Sheng Yi enters dressed as a woman and publicly declares that she is Shen-nan's twin sister and confesses she had been pretending to be a boy all this time. The reporters erupt with questions, asking whether what she did counts as deception. The manager immediately intervenes, revealing she knew the truth from the beginning. She explains they hid Sheng Yi's identity for one purpose only, to prove that women can also compete in car racing. She firmly states they will continue in the championship, and her confidence helps shift public opinion. The crowd responds with applause, admiring Sheng Yi's courage and honesty. Joe's reaction, however, is very different. Feeling betrayed, he angrily says Sheng Yi deceived him. He storms out of the conference, goes to the parking lot, removes the bracelet, throws it on the ground, gets into his car, and drives away in rage. Sheng Yi runs after him, calling his name, but he leaves without looking back. Heartbroken, she picks up the bracelet, remembering he had promised never to remove it. Seeing Joe's confusion, Fang later talks to him and admits that he once felt attracted to Sheng Yi after discovering she was a girl, but he let go of those feelings when she confessed that she loved Joe. Fang assures Joe that Sheng Yi always loved him and had been deeply devoted to him. He also admits that he once suspected she was a girl, but thought it was only his imagination. Now he understands why Joe's heart was always drawn to her. Fang advises him to follow his feelings and confess his love if he truly loves her. That night, Joe returns to the parking lot looking for the bracelet he threw away, but he cannot find it. Sad and defeated, he sits in his car, believing he has lost something very important, not knowing that Sheng Yi had already found it and kept it safe. Since he cannot find the bracelet, Joe goes to a restaurant to meet the manager, who had asked to see him. To his surprise, Sheng Yi is the one who arrives. They sit together, and she apologizes for hiding that she was a girl. She tells him she found his bracelet and returns it, saying he can wear it again if he wants. Then she gives him a letter and asks him to read it after she leaves. Joe takes the letter but opens it immediately. Embarrassed, Sheng Yi tries to stop him, but Joe suddenly hugs her and apologizes. He says he should have understood her situation and not shouted at her, and asks if she can forgive him. Sheng Yi smiles, accepts, and they embrace tightly, relieved and happy. From then on, they grow even closer and spend more time together. However, their happiness does not last long. One night, Sheng Yi feels someone following her. Juan appears with his men, surrounds her, and tries to kidnap her. At the same time, Joe receives a message from Juan saying he has Sheng Yi and giving him a location if he wants to save her. Without hesitation, Joe rushes there and finds Sheng Yi tied to a chair. As he approaches, he realizes it is a trap. The thugs brutally attack him while Sheng Yi cries in desperation. Juan tells him it is time to settle past debts. Joe begs him to leave her alone, but Juan cruelly orders him to kneel or she will be hurt. Joe obeys. The men hold him while Juan kicks his leg, stabs him to stop him from racing in the next competition, and finally hits him on the head with a baseball bat, leaving him unconscious. Juan does not realize that Joe had left his phone on and had already called the police. The authorities arrive at the warehouse, chase the attackers, and Joe is rushed to the hospital. The next day, Joe watches the race from the hospital on his phone. On the track, Sheng Yi drives with impressive skill, reaches first place, and wins the race, proving to everyone that women can compete at the highest level. She then runs to the hospital and enters his room, holding his hand in tears. Joe tells her she should have stayed to receive the award, but she cries and says nothing matters more than him. She asks if he is in pain, and Joe smiles, saying that when she is by his side, he feels no pain. He wipes her tears, tells her she proved she is a true champion, and they hug tightly. Later, Sheng Yi visits her twin brother's hospital room, where he is still in a coma. She tells him she won the race and fulfilled his dream. Holding his hand, she remembers their childhood, when they played racing games with toy cars, and how he always encouraged her love for racing. 1 year later, while walking together on the beach, Joe surprises her with a marriage proposal. Overwhelmed with happiness, she immediately says yes. And with this heartfelt reunion, this beautiful story comes to an end. So friend, if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.